Hi! We are very much still alive.
Yes, we haven't fallen off the face of the universe,
Yeah.
we promise.
Yeah.
We just got really busy, like we just couldn't catch up for week 3. So this is like
Yeah.
week 3 and 4 just kind of catching up because
Oh,
we
yeah.
even haven't communicated with each other even outside of the live
Mm-mm.
streams. So I have
No.
no idea
Yeah.
what's been going on, vice versa.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's great. You gotta love it.
Yeah. Um, well, I guess we shouldn't waste any time. So, y'all know I'm still reading the same book I was. So, after Sunrise on the Reaping, that got me out of my reading slump, and I tried starting Hunger Games, and I got bored with it. And then I got in a military romantic suspense mood because obviously I'm still editing my series and writing my series and all those things. So I started this book called Protecting Caroline, and this series in particular, like the book is free, so I was like, why not try it? And it's like a 14-book series, and she has like 3 or 4 different series. They're all about Navy SEALs,
Yeah.
which is my series' focus.
Yeah.
So I can read books about guys in other military, but it's really cool to like
Yeah.
actually see the Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
I've been reading it, and I've been at the ending for the last week just because I was so frustrated with this book. I've just been reading. I'm like at 70%, so I'm going to finish it. I'm just not in a hurry to finish it. And then that leaves me with like a reading slump of not knowing what to read next. But this is the first Kindle book I've read this year. Like we've been doing like I've physical books this whole time, and I forgot about how much I love to take notes. The problem is I can't shut my editing brain off, so I have a lot of comments and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. At first I hated it, loved it, hated it. So every night, literally like every other night would be like the opposite.
Yeah.
And then I got to the ending where things just got really dumb. So
Yeah.
like she's described as like this average girl, which is fine. Like I love like in fact where like guys just overlook her. It's actually really relatable.
Yeah.
But at the end, the typical trope where the ending she gets kidnapped by the bad guys. Navy SEALs got to go rescue her. That's literally always what happens. But the thing is, the bad guys like beat her and beat her and beat her, and she broke. And I'm like, for somebody who doesn't
Yeah,
have
that's
training,
not realistic. Realistic, yeah.
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 And then she broke her ribs. And I have a friend, my editor and author friend H.A. Pruitt. She broke her ribs while she was actually pregnant. And so she was editing my book Immortal at the time when he broke his ribs. So she actually gave me a huge list of like, this is what happens when you break your ribs kind of thing. So now I'm really like, it's so unrealistic. The bad guys tied this weight to her feet, dropped her off the side of the boat after she's been beaten and has broken ribs. They didn't tie her hands. She was able to swim, keep her head above the water, and not and until the SEALs came to rescue her. And the thing is, like, when you have broken ribs, you can't even lift your arms to your shoulders.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was a part of it because you can't really move, bend, or twist.
Yeah.
And then in the hospital, she's lying flat. And when you have broken ribs, you can't lie flat because you can't breathe. So the whole time, she had it for like 6 weeks, I think, my friend did. And she had to sit up in a chair and sleep the whole time because you can't lay flat with broken ribs.
Yeah.
And it sucks. But it's just all this stuff. And then they were like, oh, you're so tough, you're one of the team. So one of the SEAL team members, not her boyfriend, by the way, saw her as one of the team and gave her his Navy SEAL, like his SEAL pin. And I'm going, no Navy SEAL in their right mind would ever give their SEAL pin up. That is what they get when they graduate from BUDS, and they're very pride. Like, that is a sense of pride.
Yeah.
They earned it. Like, even if she saved their lives and didn't talk, like you're not actually a Navy SEAL. So it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then
I get
editor, so it was just like riddled with like basic editing. It was like indie level, like not indie, a noob level like stuff that like even a basic author should already like fix. And then it's like sometimes I've never seen a book written in third person omniscient before. Like they're always third person specific.
Yeah.
I'm probably not using the right terms, but it's like third person, but you go to a specific character's perspective and then you switch scenes to switch heads. In this one, you jump into everybody's head every time they speak and change dialogue, and sometimes it goes
that would be confusing.
Where it's like, and it's like, well, Caroline said this, and Wolf said this. Wolf being the main guy that she's with, that's his nickname.
Yeah.
And like, he thought this, and
so
he
it's
really
like
said that because she didn't know he said that.
So it's like,
and then
it's like an all-knowing kind of POV, but it's like all-knowing all the time, and you're getting everyone's perspective. Okay. Like you're getting everyone's
Yeah.
perspective
And it
all the
works,
time.
but in some instances, but it's not, she doesn't do it in the right way. And then
Yeah.
sometimes they do group POV, which never really works because it's like the Navy SEALs are all together, so they did this and they thought this and they said that. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll be happy to finish this book.
Yeah. So,
But you
I kind
made
of
progress.
I kind of read the Hunger Games series while we've been out.
Meanwhile, one book and you're just reading a whole series over there.
Okay, to be fair, they're young adult books, to be fair. And
Yeah, that is
okay,
fair.
this still stands as my favorite book. Yes,
Okay.
Haymitch's book is angstier in a sense, but it's like reading, there are so many things that I forgot about since I'd read this. And also, I never, like, as an adult, I'm able to understand that Katniss was going through, like, a really deep depression. Like, so deep to the point where she, like, trigger warning for things. She got to the point where she was suicidal several times in this book. And it was like, and there's points where,
it got that bad.
and there's points, like, at the very end, one of the things that literally got me, and I was not expecting for it to get me, but it's like after she went back to 12 at the very end, after what she kills Coin and all of that jazz, and she goes home, the one person that I wasn't expecting to show up was, I think was it Greasy Say? Is that her name? The lady that would serve the soup at the seam.
Yeah.
And it, like, at one point, like, she comes in and she just, like, it talks about how she was taking care of her. And it like, literally, I started bawling and I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, I was not expecting, I don't know, it just, I don't know, it was just, I'm trying to find where it was at. Because it said, like, she would come in every day and would make food and leave food and would, like, clean the place and make sure, like, and it was just, like, Katniss was there just existing. That's all she was doing. Like, she wasn't, like, having an abundant life. She was just existing. And it was just, I don't know, it surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it touched me way more than I thought it would. And it was, I don't know.
Yeah.
And, like, throughout the book, it's like you're watching, like, Katniss, I don't know, it's for the first time Peeta's not madly in love with her, and he has to, like, fall in love with her again. And it's something that, I don't know, it's just, I've always liked Mockingjay because it felt so much different than the other two. That was originally, like, that, and I'm always a Peeta girly, so angstiness with Peeta was my thing. But like, I don't know, it, like, and by the end of the book, like, when my basic description of, like, my basic review of it is, like, I essentially put that, like, I said something like how, like, it's because I said, as a kid I love this book for Katniss and Peeta's relationship, but as an adult I love this book because we see how a young, scarred, and damaged girl can find peace and heal when it feels like healing is impossible. And it's like, and it's like, because at that point, at the end of Mockingjay, like, she has literally, at that point, she had lost the one person that it was like her most important person. And it's like, I can't empathize with that sisterly bond. Like, I can't empathize with that because I don't have a sister. I have a brother. He's 9 years older than me. We don't have that kind of relationship, but not until here recently. But it's like, well, that's a whole nother story. But it's just, like, I've been to that point where I'm just going to exist. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to exist. And I've felt that before, but I've never felt an intense loss like she did. And it's just, I don't know. I felt that from her. And it was just,
I feel like if I reread it would be harder for me as an adult because I'm closer to my sister now than I was as a teen when I first read it.
Oh my gosh.
So I probably got it, but, like...
And honestly, I don't know if it was just, like, naive me, but as an adult, District 13, sorry, I can't get my words out. District 13 is no better than the Capitol. She is used so much. Like, she is used so much in this book for pictures, for images, for like a symbol, like, and it's just like she is used so often, and it's like, and it just reminds me of like this old wash rag that just keeps wrung and wrung out and wrung out and wrung out for everything you can get out of it, and at the end of it, it's just some sopped up mess on the floor that has tattered and holes, and like that's literally how it felt for me. And it's like, and in the end,
and I would say that you can even make a metaphor between a couple getting divorced, and the kids getting in the middle and being used from one parent to another.
That is so true.
I could almost see that being like a metaphorical comparison to it.
And it's just, and there's something about, like, in Katniss, like, she struggles throughout this, and so does Peeta and all of the characters. And it's just, it feels like, one, Peeta has to fall in love with her over again, and Katniss has to come to that realization that she's going to have to work for Peeta's love again. And it's like, but she doesn't do that right away. Like, she's so deep in that depression that it's like Peeta has to fight his way back to her. And in the end, that's, and it's just, I don't know, it genuinely says something like, once you find your person, like, I know you could probably say this about Michael, that once you find your person, like, they're the person that kind of keeps you going in a way. And it's like, by the end of Mockingjay, there's no doubt in my mind that Peeta was her person. It just took her a while to figure that out. And it's like, and it took her going through and experiencing losing him, or losing his love, to see that. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. There's so many deep concepts in Mockingjay that I just didn't pick up on before. And I forgot just how good Catching Fire was. I don't give Catching Fire enough credit. I always thought it was like, oh, they're just going into the Hunger Games again. And it's like,
it was my favorite of the
but honestly, Haymitch, like, reading his story does add a lot of substance to Catching Fire, and it just adds a whole lot more meaning. And it's like, you see, and it's like things that he did in his book, like
so curious.
Things that he does in his book, like, because in his book, like, he doesn't tell any of his allies what his plans are with the whole rebellion bit, and you see him kind of learn from his mistakes, but also repeat some of those things in Catching Fire, because Katniss and Peeta have no idea, and it's like they never had any idea what was going on, and it's just.
Well, that's what I want, that from his perspective, to see what was going on.
I know, that would be really neat to see.
Like as a bonus story or something released on the website or whatever. That would be cool.
And it's just like really interesting, and I genuinely believe that Haymitch's book was in response to all the people sympathizing with Snow's character and like making thirst traps on TikTok of his character and falling in love with him. That was literally, that book is her way of giving Haymitch a story, which I'm obsessed with, but also pointing the readers and saying, hey, don't forget who the bad guy is.
Yeah, Snow,
but at the same time,
he's a real a-hole in that book.
Yes,
he really is.
But it's like at the same time, what's really interesting is because Coin's not much better. Coin is literally.
I never liked her.
Coin is literally Snow, and the one thing that bothers me, and it's still, I don't understand why Gale did it. But one thing that I've noticed in this book is he talks about people. He makes references as like with people being animals or like animals in a sense. And there's one point where him and Beetee work together to make these bombs that mirror, like based on his traps with animals, but they add factors with compassion, like anticipating people coming to help the ones that are rescued, and then they explode a second time. I never picked up on that my first time reading it, and that shocked me so much.
Well,
I'm like,
even in the Hunger Games, when I was rereading it, when he's giving Katniss advice about how to survive, he's
Yeah.
like, it's just like hunting, Katniss.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I picked up on how he would adapt to the Hunger Games better than Katniss because he's
Yeah.
a lot more
I
cold-hearted
believe
than
that.
her.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did pick up on that.
And it just like, because I knew like the outcome of what happens at the end of Mockingjay, because I do remember the main points, but it's like I didn't remember those little things that connect some of those things together, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But yeah, like I honestly, and it's a series that it's like it's so deep, and there's like. And you can take it from a surface level as a young adult reader or a young reader, but it's like you can also read it as an adult and pick out the more mature themes that are like between the lines. It's really interesting. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Is as good of a writer as Rebecca Yarros and Sarah J. Maas, and we kind of like over focus on them. But I think that she needs to be listed as some of those big three.
I've honestly believe that the Hunger Games series has had such an impact that I would honestly argue that it's become a classic. That would be my argument. I know a lot of people like my parents' generation would argue against that, but
Michael too. He hates the Hunger Games series.
But it's one of those things. It's on because like there's times where like I volunteer. Like I volunteer as tribute. Like I've heard that phrase a lot. Those kind of things. I don't know. It's just. Yeah, I don't know. Like the 8th graders at school, they do a Hunger Games unit where they read the first book, and then they go on a field trip to like with survival skills and type of things, and it's so much fun. But haven't actually went, but they do like axe throwing. They learn to build fires, like all kinds of stuff, and they do like a Hunger Games unit and everything. And it's just I don't know. I would say that it's on track to becoming a classic eventually, especially if she continues adding books and like developing the series the way it is. Like, yeah.
It's an interesting concept too because it's like now with social media and books getting big, there's the ability for books to become big, like as big as classics. Mm-hmm. And so it's like how many classics are we going to have, or how many are going to fade away? Yeah. You know, because Fourth Wing had a big cultural kind of impact, and it was so different and unique that I wonder if it may be big too. You know, one of those things.
And I'm really excited to see like honestly. And one thing I got to thinking about too, Catching Fire feels like the Onyx Storm of a series in a way. Not really, but it literally, Onyx Storm felt like the book that was setting the stage for the story to expand into this full scale thing. It was like the book that like, it was like the book where you reach the boiling point before like things just explode and get, you know what I'm saying? Like
I could say to like why I love Onyx Storm because Catching Fire was always my favorite of the series, so maybe that's something
it's
that I
like,
love. Those
honestly, that's what it reminded me of that because it was like, it's the book in the series where things start to build and you see that building and new things are being introduced, new questions are being asked, and it's like, you know, you're left on a big cliffhanger at the end because you're building into something more. Something angstier. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I think it's really interesting when you see a book series like that has multiple books in the series. You can kind of see how the middle books aren't meant to answer all the questions. They're meant to answer some things, to introduce more problems, so that eventually those problems can become solutions and work themselves out. So it's really kind of interesting.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Valiant series, and I was like, what would my Onyx Storm be of that series? I'm like, Wicked. Definitely Wicked book 10. Like, oh my gosh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I did buy a couple other books when I saw them, I think at Walmart. So this one...
Oh my god, I have that one on my list! No joke, holy crap!
We haven't talked.
We haven't talked at all. Oh my god. Okay, I gotta not talk so loud because my poor neighbors are probably in bed. But
okay, well, we haven't talked. We didn't do this. I don't know.
But
the
like,
stuff
look at the
displayed, and
pages.
just, like,
Oh my
look at it.
god.
I love them.
Oh, but look at the.
Oh my
Look
goodness,
look
I
at it.
know, the map
Oh,
is
it's so
like
pretty.
good.
Oh
It's
my
like the
god.
standard for hardbacks. Like this is what we need.
And this,
for
I
a
got. I
special
forget where I
edition.
got. Where did I get this? Walmart. I got this at Walmart.
I got it at Walmart.
Like, and I feel like that's such a funny phrase. And I got it at Walmart. Like, Walmart is known to be like the.
Like memes for us, I swear.
Walmart is like the Dollar Tree of the stores, and it's like I got it at Walmart. It's like a really expensive Dollar Tree. I feel like Walmart is notorious for being like, oh, like you get because it has the same books. Like the first of the ACOTAR series, you have some romance novels in there. You have a few witchy kind of books that I don't get into, and then it's like
They have a huge, like,
this one,
thriller
and I'm like.
section
But
there,
it's
too.
like literally the
Yeah.
dragons on her arms, like oh
my gosh,
it
I
looks
know,
so
like, it looks-
cool.
and if you move it in the light, like it has different
Yeah.
like her hair lights on fire.
And look at how
Plus,
bright green, the
each
color
girl
green
with
in her
dragons.
eyes. Like
Yeah,
literally the
and it's
attention to
girl with-
detail, like with the color, like the green in her eyes. I'm like, oh, okay.
I know, and the silver, it's gold, it's like foiled. Like this is
Ugh.
a full-on special edition, like a
Yeah.
Kickstarter edition almost. And it's ancient Rome, it's
Mhm.
dragons, and you have
Mhm.
a romance. I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
sold.
Yeah.
We're talking like maybe I need to read this book next. But that was the first one I bought. The second one I bought was this one. The
Nope,
King's
I did not have
Messenger.
that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
this
didn't
is a
have
little
that one.
scary, but it's kind of a vibe. But the thing is, it's like 1613, so it's like historical. But there's a corrupt king, and this guy Andrew Logan is like working for the corrupt king,
Mhm.
and it seems like there's a little bit of a romance, and they have to work together. And I'm like, okay, I could potentially
okay,
see that. So I was just like. I love corrupt kings, and when you have a guy working for a corrupt king that doesn't want to, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you have me sold a little bit there. So those are the ones that I bought.
Okay, so our Walmart now has a book bin with cheap books. Yeah, it's not very big, but I got this one. It was the only one that looked halfway interesting.
Why do we not have that?
I don't know, but I got it for
I'm
$6,
going to your Walmart the next
and I'm gonna
time
read
I
the
am in town,
synopsis.
and I am rating that thing.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Okay, and it's a book one. It's a book one. It says an alliance embarks on a dangerous journey to uncover the secrets of the distant past and save their world. So a gifted student foretells an apocalypse. Her reward is being sentenced to death. Fleeing into the unknown, she draws into a team of a broken soldier who was once taken up who once again takes up the weapon he's forbidden to wield, and carves a trail back home. A drunken prince who steps out of his beloved brother's shadow and claims a purpose of his own. An imprisoned thief who escapes and crushing dark and discovers a gleaming artifact, one that will ignite a power struggle across the globe. And it sounded really interesting. And then, like on the run, they're hunted by enemies and all kinds of stuff.
Out, but I heard bits and pieces.
Okay.
But pieces of your
So
audio
it's like,
cutting out.
You have a gifted student foretells the apocalypse and she's sentenced to death because of it. You have a broken soldier who's wielding a sword that he's forbidden to wield. A drunken prince who's kind of finding his own, like finding his own purpose kind of thing. And then an imprisoned thief who escapes. So it sounds kind of interesting. It's called The Starless Crown by James Rowland. Yeah. And there's like, it's book one. It's book one of the Moonfall series. And there's 3 total. So there's the Starless Crown, the Cradle of Ice, and then a Dragon of Black Glass. The Dragon of Black Glass published this year, by the way. So book 3 published this year. So that's interesting. So there's that one. There's the one we shared. And then I went to see my other cousin who lives in Springfield. And we saw Mercy Me. And so while we were shopping, I went to Barnes & Noble. Because I have to anytime I'm in Springfield. And I got
Yeah, I mean that's the closest one.
Sword Heart. It was pretty.
Hmm,
Okay,
it looks
it was a
pretty.
pretty cover. I'm gonna be honest. I mainly picked. It was the cover, and then um the the one line, the liner, like the blurb at the beginning, like on the inside bit, caught my attention.
Yeah.
Um, Hala is an unexpectedly inherited the estate of a wealthy uncle. Unfortunately, she is also saddled with money-hungry relatives, full of devious plans for how to wrest the inheritance away from her. While locked in her bedroom, Hela inspects an ancient sword that's been collecting dust on the wall. And then, out of a desperation, she unsheaths it, and suddenly a man appears. His name is Sarkis, Sarkis, and he tells her that he's an immortal warrior trapped in a prison of enchanted steel.
Most of that cut out except for the ending,
Again?
but it sounds from the trapped in a prison from enchanted steel or something like that sounds good.
Yeah,
And I
so
heard that she's an estate. She
yeah,
inherited an estate and looked at a
yeah.
sword.
So
But the
the
first bit
sword,
about
this
the
sword
guy-
had been hanging on a wall, and she just collecting dust. So she picks it up and unsheaths it, and this warrior appears, who's an immortal, and he's stuck in a prison.
That is my thing. I am looking this book up right now. Like, there's no even like. I think I found the book that's gonna get me out of my reading slump, yo.
Mm-hmm. It's called Sword
I'm
Heart.
gonna have to get it on the camera. I love that his last name is Kingfisher because that's like one of the main guys in the main guy in Quicksilver.
Oh.
I found it.
Love is a double-edged sword. That's the tagline on the cover. And it says Sarkis knew.
The hardback is $20. The paperback is $32.
What?
Why is the paperback $32?
Does it have a different cover?
I'm looking. Yeah, it's like this gray
Oh.
cover.
Yeah, that's the one that's showing on Goodreads, probably. Yeah, I would get. Yeah, the hardback is the one that I got at Barnes and Noble. I would stick with that, especially if it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's deluxe edition.
Maybe
hardcover,
the
features
paper,
embroidered
maybe the paperback is an earlier release, and they re-released it with a new cover. So maybe that's why it's more expensive, because it's the first
guess.
cover. I like this one though.
That's not the choice I would make. I prefer the color, yeah. The
And it's a
Kindle is
deluxe edition.
$9.99, which is expensive. Honestly, for $9 for the Kindle, it's basically $10 for the Kindle edition. You might as well pay an extra $10 and get the hardcover.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna talk
Yeah.
my husband into that later. Later conversation.
Later conversation.
Later conversation.
All right.
Okay,
The other. I got two more.
Well, I didn't have a book haul, but I'm almost finished with this book,
Mm-hmm.
and like literally the next chapter is the epilogue. As you can see, I've highlighted some angry. That was the other thing that made me mad was because the guy is like her life's in danger, so I'm gonna leave her, and that's typical. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the other guy on his team is so mad at Wolf for giving up this girl
Mm-hmm.
that he's willing to transfer to another SEAL team because of it. And it's like, this is your brother that you have
Yeah.
bled with, fought with. You're a Navy SEAL, like no SEAL gets left behind, and yet you're gonna give him up just because he's made the decision to leave a woman that he feels like he's scared.
Yeah.
He's making this decision out of fear because he fears for her safety. And 70% of SEAL marriages don't work out anyway, so
Yeah.
the other friends should, like, that's a statistical fact. So he should already know this. And so I'm just like, why would you abandon your brother for a woman that, like, isn't he, like, you've barely known her for a little while, and it's like they treat her like, you know, the trope that everybody hates. It's like, I'm a unique, special girl, and like I'm not like other girls. That's the trope. That's kind of what this comes off as. But it's like, how could you leave your SEAL brother because he's made a decision to not be with the girl? Like, that's his choice. And so that's what this infuriated highlight is about. But I'm close to finishing it, so my whole point in all that rant was I'm trying to figure out what to read next, and I need to get out of the reading slump. I have finished editing for one client, so I'm only editing for one more client, so that's a little less of my workload. And honestly, the second client, I've worked with her before, and it's relaxing to edit her book because I'm actually interested in it, so it's not work for me. So I'm trying to figure out what to read next, and I'm still writing books 3 and 4 in my series. I'm planning on another one where I kind of want to do a guy that has DID, but I'm like
Mm,
on the fence about
mm-hmm.
whether I should or not.
Yeah.
And I have all of it planned, and the
Yeah.
plot line actually does center around it, so I
Okay.
can't really undo. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if it would work without it,
Yeah.
but I can't find books with guy characters that have DID other than like one I've
Mm.
already read, and that had a twist where it was like you find after this male character named Andy, you get to know him, and you fall like he's with this romance with this other
Mm-hmm.
woman, and like all of his alters and all the struggles. Halfway through the book, there's a twist when him and the woman are getting intimate, and you find out he has a female body, and it was just a male alter in a female body.
Yeah.
And I felt so because then the romance stopped working, and I felt so, and you fall in love with Andy, like Andy's character, the guy, and it's just like it ruined the whole book for me. Spoilers for Set This House in Order, I think is what that book was called.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't have a book with a guy character with DID, but a long time ago I found this at like Walmart, and it's a thriller, but it features a female that has DID.
Oh, cool.
And it actually like one of her alter, like she or her alters know something that they're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
And so like it's kind of like a thriller.
Yeah.
And so I just need to read something to see how it's written, because I know about it in a technical sense, and like I feel confident in that I could, but I kind of just want to know how other writers handle the switching
Mm-hmm.
between the alters, and like how it's done. Like, if you do you still use the character's original name? Do you focus on the alters
Okay.
like having their own
Gotcha. Yeah,
personalities?
just like the how to write.
I
Yeah.
just have questions.
Huh.
And so it's kind of getting me more interested in this
Yeah.
book. And it's like, okay, years after a breakdown in a diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder derailed her historical preservationist career, Kenitra Nash and her alters have been given a second chance. They can't refuse a position as a resident caretaker of a historic home. Having been dormant for years, Ken has no idea what led them to this isolated Hudson River island, but she's determined not to ruin the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Then a surprise visit from the Home's Conservation Trust bears down as a nor'easter, I don't know what that word means, bears down on the island, disrupts her newfound life, leaving Ken trapped with a group of possibly dangerous strangers, including the man who brought her life tumbling down years earlier. When he turns up dead, Ken is the prime suspect. Caught in a web of secrets and race against time, Ken and her alters must band together to prove their innocence and discover the truth of Kavanaugh Island and their own past, or they risk losing not only their future but their life. And also, what intrigues me, it says Ken has been dormant for years, so she doesn't know what led her to this job.
Yeah.
In mine, like, my plan is for my guy character, the terrorists want information, so he healed from his DID. But when the terrorists want information, his SEAL training kicks in and activates his DID, separates his mind, so all the alters and his real personality gets pushed to the back. So he's dormant for years, and the other alters kind of take over. And it's kind of like a similar vibe.
Yeah.
Just like
that'd be interesting.
Different. So plus it's got Daisy Darker vibes almost, where they're like in a house, and there's like a mystery there, and like who done it, kind of murder mystery type thing. So I'm thinking about trying that one.
Yeah, it'd be worth reading for sure, especially because it ties into like what you're getting ready to, like, thinking about writing too. So
yeah, it would be like research purposes / having fun. But I'm really intrigued by this one too, and now the other Sword Heart. But if I ordered Sword Heart, that would give it time to come in while I read this one.
Yeah.
So potentially, and I mean, it's not too long, so
yeah.
Even reading the blurb made me excited for it again. So I still had some articles. I don't know if you had any other things to talk about. You're reading. We didn't talk about how after Mockingjay you moved on to Harry Potter again.
I had 2 other books in my book haul too, though.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought
you were okay. No, it's okay. Okay, I found this one. I've seen this one a few times, but I've never actually picked it up. It's called Air by I have another book from her, Ember in the Ashes. I still haven't read it. It's also a book on my TBR that I haven't read yet. But this is another book by that same writer. This one is growing up in the Kejari, Kegari slums. Aiz has seen her share of suffering. An old tragedy fuels her need for vengeance. And then we have Saoirse, which is a down-on-her-luck tracker who agrees to hunt down a killer of these that murdered these children. And then you have Quill, Quil, is a crown prince of this empire and a nephew to the empress, the vindicated empress. And so he doesn't really want to take over the throne, but apparently he has to kind of rise above his tragic lineage, which I thought that phrasing was kind of interesting. And be the heir his people needs. So yeah, it sounded interesting.
It sounds like the book they focus on him because of the title, but
yeah, so it's really interesting. So so it's like 3 different stories happening at once. You have Aiz, you have Saoirse, and then you have Quill. So it's like 3 different ones, and it said the author interweaves the lives of 3 young people as they grapple with power, tragedy, love, and the devastating consequences of unchecked greed on their journey. So it sounded really interesting. And then I went to a surplus store, which is like, surplus stores are just those, for anyone that doesn't know, they're the stores that when Target can't sell something for whatever reason, maybe it's slightly damaged, they can't sell it, they surplus stores will buy things like these big pallets in bulk of just stuff that they sell for a cheaper price. Look what I got.
I think we had one near our mall. Whoa!
It's like one of the illustrated copies of Order of the Phoenix. It's the one I just finished, and so far it's my favorite. I got it for like $20. Like $20.
Nice.
So like, I got this thing for the price of this thing.
That's crazy.
I had all of the deals, and the only reason is book jacket's ripped, which I can fix with tape. So
yeah,
but I'll tape it on the inside so you can't actually see it on the front. But that's kind of my thinking. So yeah, that is my thing. I am currently reading Half-Blood Prince. My college best friend said that this is her favorite out of the entire series, and she is like a Harry Potter fanatic. So, and she was hinting at things, because I told her I wasn't sure how to feel about Snape and Harry's relationship, and she's just like, and I'm like, what does that mean? What does mean? And so, she's my current Harry Potter fanatic that I will go to for Harry Potter things. And so,
funny.
She had the same concern we did about the whole Snape casting. Also, Snape is described as being a very unattractive person, and a lot of people are saying that the actor is relatively attractive compared to how they describe Snape in the book, being this greasy-haired guy with a big nose, and the actor does not have a big nose and does not have greasy hair. So it's like, but yeah, so that was another discussion that her and I had. So I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, that was me all caught up. I feel pretty good on my reading challenge number so far.
I need to get this one finished as a second one for this month because I'm behind. I'm supposed to do 2 every month, which I thought the first month set me ahead, but I guess it's far enough along that I may need to finish this one before April ends, but I'm going to try to finish it tonight and start the next one.
You might check Goodreads, because I know that Goodreads will kind of helps you, like, at least where it shows, like, the Goodreads challenge, it tells you, like, whether you're on schedule or if you're ahead of schedule. And
yeah, I'll have to check that.
Yeah, because I know it said that I am ahead of schedule just because I read a lot of the shorter the Hunger Games books that were shorter, and so but I would think you should be on track with where you're at. I would have thought, because this would be book 2 that you finished, isn't it?
It will be book 2.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I feel like you're on track though.
I read like 4 or 5.
Yeah, so I feel like you're like, I feel like, because your goal was it 24 or 25? 24. Yeah, I feel like you're way on track. Like, you're way ahead of schedule. So I feel like you're fine.
I feel too.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first article thing that I had was a post on Instagram that floored me. And okay, for context, it is a like funny theory that's not true, and it's like more of a fan fiction-y theory that, hey, this would be cool if, but there are also comments in here with actual theories that I wanted to bring up both to you. But the funny theory is still funny, so I wanted your reaction to it. So let me see if I can explain this right.
Okay.
Because it's been a while. It's an ACOTAR theory.
Okay.
So the funny theory is basically, in its essence, is that they like the idea that Rhys could almost be Tamlin's dad. And their argument for it, again, it seems very fictiony, but essentially it's like um, Tamlin's dad hated Rhysand and hated his family and like murdered them and stuff. So it's almost like maybe Rhys messed around with Tamlin's wife or mate or whatever, and the dad was like, all right, I'm gonna kill your entire bloodline. So he did that, and then that's kind of what set their beef, and then how Rhys kind of won't kill Tamlin, and how he cares for Tamlin, and like in Silver Flames, how he goes there and eats with him and makes sure he's still there, and
yeah.
the pool of starlight in the spring court was like also kind of like it's this pool of starlight, and Tamlin always felt drawn there, and it's like maybe he felt drawn there for his bloodline, and so it's one of those, it's like it's silly, it's not true, but it's like it would make a good fan fiction if you did that. But some of the comments, I didn't save the comments. Oh, the one of like some people, one person was like, well, this obviously isn't true, but like maybe Tamlin and Rhys are actually like half brothers or something. And then other people, one of them was like, this person said, I do enjoy the theory that Rhys's sister and Tamlin were mates. So like Tamlin's true mate is actually Rhysand's sister.
Yeah, I like that. I could see that.
And if I don't know if anybody knows about that, so either it could be a twist or Rhys could know, and that's part of why he can't bring himself to kill Tamlin, because it always like I don't know if it was just his inner goodness, and that's probably what it actually is, but like the fact that he never did kill Tamlin, and in Silver Flames and like in general he keeps going to check on Tamlin to take care of him, to make sure he's staying alive. And it's like, why is Rhysand going out of his way to take care of this guy who is pretty much like a jerk that everybody hated? So it was just like this, it caught me so off guard. I was like, wait, what? Tamlin, Rhysand is Tamlin's dad, like what the heck?
That's
funny.
And
I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then I saw a post, which you've talked about before, that said, Suzanne hated the reaction to everyone thirsting over snow, and that's why she wrote the other one. So I was like, I gotta save that on Hannah's behalf. Like that is
exactly what happened. That, and I feel like I honestly, I feel like that's the main, like,
100%. So also another article that I had, Sarah J. Maas actually revealed her like top 10 favorite books, and so I just thought it would be kind of interesting. The Thief by Megan Whalen Turner. I've never heard of that. Captive Prince by C.S. Pacat. I'm sorry, I'm butchering that. Dark Fever by Karen Marie Moning. Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. I can verify that is a really good book. That was my binging series when I was younger, and I probably should not have at that age. So, moving on, Angel's Blood by Nalani Singh, which Nalani Singh actually, real quick, I loved her book, Ocean's Light. There's dust and husky fur. Nalani Singh, Ocean's Light, it's like, I don't know if it's connected to any of her series. It came off as a standalone, so I understood it fine, but so it may or may not be connected with one of her series, but this book was so good. I read it in the years before. In my big reading slump, this was one of those books I read, binged, and finished during that reading slump. So I've always been fond of Nalani Singh. I don't know what Angel's Blood is, though. I need to check out Nalani Singh again and see what other books she's got. So, number 6, The Book of Three by Lloyd Alexander. Sabriel by Garth Nix.
It's book 2 in a series.
How did I understand that?
It's like a 9-book series.
And I read this is book 2.
Yeah, it's Silver Silence, Ocean Light, Wolf Rain, Alpha Night, Last Guard, Storm Echo, Resonant Surge, Primal Mirror, and Atonement Sky.
I wonder if it's one of those standalone romance type series.
Yeah. read order according to her official website. Reading order according to her official website. Takes place in the same universe, and should be regarded as season 2 of a different series. So it's like her series. I don't know. It kind of. I'll send you the link. You can look it up on. If you look at on Goodreads and you click like the series title, it will show you all of them linked together. So I'm thinking like her series are linked somehow.
Honestly, this is kind of nostalgic for me because I really loved her story world. She did a lot of like it kind of sci-fi, but like a sci-fi version of psychic people with like telepathy and stuff like that. And so there's like a
side
war,
channel,
and I think the main guy in this one, he had this chip in his head that's like destined to kill him or something. And I can't remember the exact premise and stuff. I remember being a little disappointed that the solution felt like it was too easy, and then the main premise was kind of like just like, you know, but I really did enjoy that book, so I may actually look back into her book series to get me back. But Sarah J. Maas's back to her books. Sabriel by Garth Nix, which for some reason Garth Nix sounds familiar to me. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, which sounds familiar. The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beale, and then The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Takshi. So that's interesting. Most of those I haven't heard of. There's a few authors and familiar ones. Dark Lover by J.R. Ward makes sense because she is like paranormal romance that's spicy, heavy. Like she makes Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros look like angels and saints compared to like J.R. Ward is extremely spicy. But I did love her series though, and I wish it was clean because I would go back and binge it again, but I can't. I actually even put the books in my husband's room so I wouldn't be tempted to read them because they got really extreme with that spicy stuff. Okay, so did you have any articles or anything?
Not really. It was just a matter of like catching up with you because I feel like it's been a hot minute. One thing that I did appreciate is that Dumbledore finally, in the beginning of this one, he essentially tells off the Dursleys for treating Harry so badly, and I'm like, I feel like that was way overdue. Like, it's, and I'm like, dude. And it's just like, he's like, Dumbledore paused, and although his voice remained light and calm, he gave no obvious sign of anger. Harry felt a kind of chill emanating from him and noticed that the Dursleys drew very slightly closer together. You did not do as I ask. You have never treated Harry as a son. He has known nothing but neglect and often cruelty at your hands. The best that can be said is that he has at least escaped the appalling damage you have inflicted upon the unfortunate boy sitting between you. And I'm like, dude, like, what? Finally, I think, and it's one of those things that feels like Dumbledore's kind of like acknowledge, like, come to his senses a little bit, and it's like it just felt like I wanted somebody in the series to acknowledge how badly they were treating him all this time, and I'm like,
I feel like that should have been done when they first found out.
Oh
almost.
my gosh!
It's
But
like,
the
why
thing
would
is,
they let that happen?
and one thing you have to like, I have to acknowledge too is that Harry doesn't really talk about the Dursleys. He doesn't talk about his living conditions. He doesn't really open up to anybody about like the fact that he lived under the stairs up until he got his Hogwarts letter. Like, he never talks about it. And it's like, and I feel like that's like, I feel like that can say a lot about just like, even now, like, if the kids don't feel safe and they don't feel like they can trust you, they're not going to open up about that kind of stuff. Like, that's something that as an adult you have to kind of read between the lines and make it as safe of a place as possible. That eventually those kind of things will come to light. And it's like, I don't know, it's just really interesting. And it made me so happy. It made my heart happy that Dumbledore will like finally acknowledge, like, some adult in this series finally acknowledged. And they acknowledged it at the end of the last one too, and I feel like that's what made me kind of emotional at the end, is because a lot of the adults, like the Weasleys at the end, and a couple other adults, like I feel like it was Professor Lupin, I think, said something too, like essentially acknowledged that they better take care of Harry, and they're like acknowledging the fact that they weren't, and then Dumbledore just comes right out and says, "You didn't do what I asked you to do." And it was like somebody is finally saying it and finally calling him out on it. And it was so satisfying. And I was like, right off the bat, I know this is going to be a good book because they acknowledge it right off the bat, like in the first like 3 chapters.
Start.
Yeah. And I'm like, I like that. Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
So I'm enjoying it. It's been pretty good.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Seems like you've really enjoyed the series as a whole and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I really want to get to A Cursed Child eventually, because that one's one, like, I heard a lot of, like, there were several people that didn't like it, but it's like, I'm interested in reading it. Like, I want to know about their kids.
Yeah.
And I don't mind the script format. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did find another article that I thought was like just fun, where it was ranking the shadow daddies, and I'm like, okay, apparently, because like it's become a trope at this point where like it's the shadow daddy trope, and so they start off with number 10, and I wanted to see if we knew like the guys and if we agreed or disagreed, that kind of thing. So number 10 is Kingfisher. Obviously from Quicksilver, and the person was talking about how we just don't have enough books to like get to know him in comparison to some of the others who have multiple books.
Yeah.
That, and he's a big a-hole. He really he is worse than the other guys at being a jerk. So number 9 is Wrath from the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and I don't know what this is, so now I'm gonna have to look it up.
I know, yeah. Kingdom of the what?
Kingdom of the Wicked. It's got some nice egg action on the cover going on. So we're going to go look that up. But yeah, Wrath. I don't want to read too much about that because then I don't know if they spoil anything like about
no, I get it. I would be careful too.
Character, but that's not what I wanted to say at all.
Yeah. No, I got it. Oh, okay, I see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely giving me vibes like some of my covers. Two sisters, one brutal murder, a quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself, and an intoxicating romance. Amelia, her twin sister Vittoria, are Stragi, witches who live secretly among humans, avoiding notice and persecution. One night, Vittoria misses dinner service at the family's renowned Sicilian restaurant. Amelia soon finds the body of her beloved twin desecrated beyond belief. Devastated, Amelia sets out to find her sister's killer and to seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means using dark magic that's long forbidden. Then Amelia meets Wrath, one of the wicked princes of hell she's been warned against in tales since she was a child. Wrath claims to be on Amelia's side, tasked by his master with solving the series of women's murders on the island, but when it comes to the wicked, nothing is as it seems. Oh my god, that sounds so good! I'm adding that to my shopping list. Maybe that will be the one to get me out of my reading slump. Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. Okay, and he's apparently a shadow daddy, so I'm all here for that. Okay. Xaden Riorson is number 8. Why did they put him all the way at number 8? He did have issues with sometimes dipping a toe into problematic tropes, such as being way too controlling and overprotective, but Violet quickly puts him in his place, and it seems as though he would evolve.
No, I don't really...
So, Orion Hunt Athalar from the Crescent City series is number 7. I'm not going to read about that character because I don't even know who in the world that is, and I kind of want to leave it that way for now.
Okay. What was the full name again?
Orion Hunt Athalar, and Hunt is in quotations, like it's a nickname.
Yeah.
Do you agree that that is at number 6? Is my only question.
There are others that I would put above him. So yeah, there's someone else I would put above him. So I would yeah, I think that's a good point. At least from what I've read so far. Because I've only read book 1. So I would say what I've read so far, I would say that's a decent spot for him.
Okay. So number 6 is Nyktos from Kingdom of Flesh and Fire.
I haven't read that.
Is that the Ashen? It's by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So from Blood and Ash, but I think is that the different series?
Of Flesh and Fire. It's the Blood and Ash book 2.
Okay, so he's a character that appears in book 2.
Yeah, apparently.
Because from Blood and Ash is okay.
Yeah.
We'll leave that one at that.
There's so many books in that series, dude. There's like 6.
Holy. Holy cow! Why is Dorian at number 5? Good lord.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, there's
Number 5
people I would put
Crawford,
above.
out
Okay.
of past series.
Mm-hmm.
He is not anywhere close to a Shadow Daddy. We're moving on way past that one. Number 4. I'm only at book 2, so I guess I can't say much.
Yeah, you can't really say much.
I
was like, you can't really say much on that one. Like, you literally have him book 1 and 2 before he really, like, grows at all. So,
He's
yes.
a pathetic little princeling that needs his...
At the beginning. At the beginning.
I know, okay, I'm sorry.
You have a lot of books to get through before you can make official judgments on this boy.
Yeah. Alright, number 4 is Azriel from A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Okay.
I feel like everybody really likes him. He's not like the main...
I don't know. He intrigues me, but he's definitely a side character that I feel like has been a side character for too long.
Yeah.
But I don't want him with Elaine. We're not getting into that again. I'm not getting into that again. I've voiced my opinions on this topic.
I have seen so many people say that they want... Because I think one guy, the Stephen guy, asked people what they wanted the next book to be about, and it was like, Azriel and Elaine, Azriel and Elaine, Azriel and Elaine. I'm like, oh my gosh, no.
I want Azriel with one of the... There's one of the girls that Nesta works with. I want Azriel with one of them.
Gwyneth, I think.
The girl from the library. Mm-hmm. That's what I want with.
I remembered that name.
Mm-hmm. That's who I want him with. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Number 3 is Isar Voldari from the Crowns of Naxia series, and it just says the Heart of Stone. So that's the one I haven't been able to get through yet. So that's the underworld dude or whatever. Okay. I don't remember what was going on. I found some art, and they look nice together, and I just need to be able to get past the issues. Okay. Ooh, number 2 is Rhysand. Who's gonna be number 1?
I have an idea. If it's who I think it is, this is an OP and amazing list. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Continue. It's okay. I like the in-between talking. So Rhysand is number 2. Okay. Number 1 is Iskander Morozova from the Darkling Grishverse series.
Justice for Rowan. But is he really a shadow guy?
Is he... Hold on. I have to look up Prince Caspian actor. Okay. Ben Barnes. Okay. Who does Ben Barnes play in Shadow and Bone? Is that his character? Yes! Oh my god! I didn't know he was a Shadow Daddy.
My pick was not on the list. I am mad.
I'm sorry. But real quick for context, I've seen the Shadow and Bone series. I haven't read the book, and I loved Shadow and Bone. I loved the series, but the guy in it, this General Iskander Morozova, I loved him so much, but I was really mad because at the end there's a twist that you find out he's the villain of the TV series. At least I don't know if they deviated from the books. And so you find out that he's actually the villain. And so now I'm wondering if in the other books he gets like a redemption kind of thing is what I'm wondering. I really kind of want to read Shadow and Bone now. But oh my god, he's so like so good looking.
My pick is not.
Okay, so who is yours? Okay, well you can make up your number 1 on who you think should be number 1.
But it's a character that you haven't got yet into yet in a series.
Is his name Rowan? Mm-hmm. Is it Rowan?
Mm-hmm.
Is the name Rowan?
Mm-hmm.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I know there's a Rowan guy that's like a main dude in the series or something.
Why was he not on the list? This makes me mad.
About him.
Why is he on this? Why is he not on this list? I'm sorry.
Is he shadow? Like, does he have shadow powers?
Okay.
And stuff? Because like
Google AI summary says that he would be considered a shadow daddy. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I don't know if they count him as one, but you know.
Aw, dang it. Okay. It just said, like, for the Alexander, thing, it said, does he get the girl in the end? No, he doesn't. I happened to just glance down, so I was like, I was gonna read the series for hopes of a redemption for him, but I guess not, so I might as well.
That's sad.
apparently he's actually is the villain, and people just consider him like a
Oh,
shadow daddy just because they love his character. I was mad when they turned him into a villain because he was so
yeah.
amazing. Oh, oh my
I'm sorry.
gosh. I mean, it's okay. I think for me, I think probably Resand would have been number one, and then
Yeah.
um, my few little experiences would have trickled down after that
Mhm.
because I haven't read all of the Shadow Daddy books yet, the
Yeah.
books where they appear.
I feel like there's just constantly more being added.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it didn't even seem like it was a trope, but, and I noticed reading all of these books that, like, they all are bad guy, like, seem baddish guys who are big, strong,
Mhm.
tall, dark, handsome with shadow magic to some extent or shadow power. So it actually kind of just became its own thing, you
Mhm.
know? And so it makes sense that it's kind of a trope now.
Yeah.
So this other one that I wanted to bring up to you specifically
Mhm.
is interesting because it's making a statement that's like the opposite of what you've mentioned, and it's talking about book talk. And it's the argument in this one is that the power of book talk, why TikTok's book community is driving a new era in publishing. And I know that you have because I'm not on book talk, so I can't speak on it, but you've mentioned
It's
how
just
toxic
drama.
it is, and like,
It's so toxic,
yeah,
and it's just people trying to cancel each other all the time, and then you have a handful of books like early on book talk like made a lot of series like well known and like boosted a lot of like several series like and some of them which I genuinely really enjoy, but it's like anytime I find a like book talk related video, it's almost always toxic. Literally the only one
yeah,
that is not toxic, there's a teacher that um reads the Hunger Games with her students, and like she's like analyzing the books and talking about things, and I'm like really enjoying her analysis of like different books and stuff. Like I love her page, and I can't remember then her name. I would say her channel name, um but yeah,
yeah,
like other than that, it's like just people canceling each other all the time. It's people nitpicking things. It's people griping about other types of readers. Like at least the videos that I've come across. Maybe I haven't just found the right people yet, but yeah.
yeah. But they were talking about how like what once required a book tour or a late night interview now happens on a phone screen. It gives rise to a new kind of literary connection. Authors don't just market their book, they build communities, and readers don't just consume stories, they comment, review, and share them with their readers. A single clip can revive a forgotten backlist title or launch a debut novel into an instant bestseller. They did some examples. TikTok as a platform can be used to like put buzz around book releases, reviving classic stories, expanding existing IP, creating content around adaptations, releases, and book series. And then it says, leveraging TikTok to stay relevant in the digital first landscape is essential to ensure books stay visible in a rapidly moving market. From organic hype to strategic partnerships, publishers that capitalize on TikTok for book marketing can drive measurable outcomes in three key areas: sales growth, brand awareness, and fan engagement.
Hmm.
Um, so it is curious to
They have
see if like
points. I
publishers
mean,
these days require you.
they have good points, but at the same time, book talk is very toxic, especially if you
Yeah,
post something that a large majority of the people don't like, or like you write a book centering like that includes like things that other people don't like, or like mass groups of people don't like. Then or
yeah,
if you make, because I've seen people make comments about like political comments before, and then people get really canceled, or I don't know. It's just like it's just so divided, and it's very easy for people to get divided on book talk. Like I'm not saying it's completely
yeah,
bad, because I feel like from a marketing perspective, it really helps a lot of those indie authors reach people, um, and things can go viral pretty easily. Books can, and like it is really helpful in that sense. But at the same time, it's so easy for a group of people to get divided on a topic, and
oh
it's
yeah.
just like there's so much conflict, like not conflict, but like confrontation, and I'm not
I
a
feel
fan
like
of
it's the
that.
Facebook of today
Yeah,
because every time I get on Facebook, because I still have a few, like Facebook is kind of dying out for
yeah,
me too, because it stuck around long enough because of the author stuff was the reason why I was still on there. For everybody else, it's dead, and I still get every time I go on Facebook, I open it up and there's some post or something that's like argumentative or toxic or
Mm-hmm.
hateful. And like
Yeah.
I was trying to have a discussion with one of my author friends on there, and it turned heated and just insulting and like canceling out a whole, like basically just, it was, I don't know. And it's like every time I get on Facebook, it's like
Yeah,
it
I avoid
always is just
Facebook
drama,
anymore.
drama, drama.
Like, unless
It's
it's a
just drama,
holiday
drama,
where I'm
drama.
posting pictures of family, or if I go, like, spend time with
Yeah.
somebody and I post pictures from family to see, even not that they need to see it. Like, it's like, at this point, it's like, I don't really care if I post videos on Facebook or not, pictures on Facebook or not. I don't really care. And it's like, I did see where there is rumors that Mark Zuckerberg may have to sell Instagram and one of the other apps because he's not getting the traction. And I feel like what you were voicing is like, even like, there's talk that Mark Zuckerberg's feeling that now. And I think he was banking on TikTok getting banned because he has his fingers in literally everything. Meta
Mhm.
does, which is Facebook.
Honestly, I'm
And
kind of happy to hear
yeah.
about that because of the way that they pirated stolen
Oh,
books,
yeah.
like for their AI.
Mm-hmm.
Like Meta has always been really like corrupt more
Yeah.
than other things. Like they're more than likely the ones to like censor people
Mm-hmm.
back in the day during like the COVID era and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so that's why I like Bookstagram has been a really positive experience with the
Mm-hmm.
group of people that I comment with and stuff. But
Yeah.
like other than that, like I do not support and I've been trying not to like support in any way like Facebook and Instagram in particular
Yeah.
after that incident when my books were pirated. So I'm kind of happy if he ends up
Yeah.
if something
Honestly,
ends up
if he
happening.
ends up selling Instagram, I may kind of be happy because I don't know. I miss how Instagram used to be. Early Instagram before it was tied to Facebook was nice. And then
Mm-hmm.
over the course of time, as it kind of, I don't know, as Meta got its hands on it, just kind of, it's all based on reels now. And Instagram there used to be like a page where you could scroll through and find new pictures. It used to be all about pictures. Like, the way, like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a Pinterest, but you take your own pic. I don't know. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah,
It was all about pictures and posting pictures. And that's what Instagram was
yeah,
about. And now it's like a TikTok wannabe, and that's not what it was. That's not what its purpose
yeah,
was. Instagram was pictures. TikTok can be videos.
mm-hmm.
That's TikTok's thing, videos. And it's like,
Yeah. Because I know for me, I have to post reels in order to be relevant. Pictures just don't get seen. And the thing is, too, for me, I've just discovered Instagram. Like, not really just discovered, but I've just been
yeah,
using it more often in recent years. And
mm-hmm.
so, but I haven't actually, like, I've been using it for a long time, but I haven't been seeking out
Yeah,
posts and scrolling and stuff.
mm-hmm.
But lately, I've been looking at different reels and, like, saving so many. And I'm finding, I guess I've geared the content toward me because I get so many funny memes about topics that I'm interested
Yeah,
in.
me too.
And it's just so much fun that I don't know how much I would want it to change and like what would happen if it sells and like all that stuff.
Yeah,
But I mean, the industry moves on, and so it's just like as an author, I just got to keep up with what the current thing
yeah,
is.
that's
So
fair.
you just got to always keep trying,
Yeah,
keep moving forward. But because right now, like TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts are the things that I'm focusing on. So it's like reel based
yeah,
stuff. And like right now, for me, what's doing big is memes. Like I've been getting consistently 1,000 views for every like YouTube short meme that I've been posting.
yeah,
So provided it actually is funny, like you have to make the meme funny,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah. No, I get that.
But yeah. So well, this has been nice. We finally
Yeah,
got caught up and everything. What are you guys reading? I'm really eager to
mm-hmm.
hear you guys. Let us know in the comments below
Yeah,
how your reading has been going and what you're
yeah.
looking into and reading and all that stuff.
What have you guys moved on to after Sunrise on the Reaping? Because I feel like both of our videos got a lot of views and interactions with Sunrise on the Reaping. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what have we moved on to? Like, what are you reading
Yeah.
now? Let us
Like,
know.
what's
And
everybody interested in now?
yeah, so, and if
Yeah.
you have any kind of juicy gossip or um, upcoming releases, let us know. I know I've been watching Carissa
Yeah.
Broadbent's Instagram page, and like I know with the Naxia Crown of Naxia series, like she did this thing where she would post a book, and then she would post like a quote, like a phrase or a quote that represents like the relationship in that, or like either
Mm-hmm.
the guy or the relationship in that book, and it's like I'm enjoying her posts on Instagram. I'm gonna be honest. I love looking at her posts.
Yeah.
And she's one of those that posts pictures, not reels, and I appreciate that. She's posting pictures, and it's like the swiping pictures where there's multiple that you swipe through, and so it's like I'm enjoying looking at her stuff. So, what have you been looking at? What are you reading? What did you move on to after Sunrise on the Reaping? Because I feel like that was a big thing. Our last video that we made was all about that. So yeah, because Joanna's currently in a reading slump, and she has several ideas of what to do, but she's not sure. So yeah. So. And I'm headfirst in Harry Potter at the moment again. So yeah.
You've been like every other book. I feel like it's been you've been.
I go
really
back and forth.
So
yeah.
Cool.
And I don't want to rush through the series because I know when I'm done I'm gonna just like I just want to appreciate it as I read through.
Yeah.
And and it's one of those series. I know Katie, she's my best friend, my college best friend, and she's reread them multiple times, and so it's like you find those series that you can just reread over and over again and just appreciate for how they are. And so yeah, like I want to cherish the first read through that I have of the series while I have it.
Yeah,
because there's not many left in the series. So all right. Yeah. We will talk to you guys later. We'll try to do better with getting a live stream done next week. We'll try.
A little bit. Yep.
Maybe.
We'll try.
Yeah. If anything,
Hopefully.
We'll make a reel on Friday because Friday is a special day. And I will continue to talk about Friday because I'm super excited. Anyway,
yes, Friday.
Friday's my birthday, but also Friday is when Star Wars Episode 3 is back in theaters for the 20th anniversary. And we're going to go, and I'm so excited. So we may do some type of...
My personal favorite, and I was too young, and I didn't know it when it first came out, so this is a dream come true to see
I took my biggest regret in life. The old Walmart in town, before they made the new building... The old Walmart, there was a Darth Vader cutout from when Episode 3 first came out, and Dad made me take a picture with the lightsaber in front of Darth Vader, and I hated that picture for years, and I didn't really keep track of it, and I lost it, and it's gone, and now I love Star Wars, but I don't have the picture. I would pay thousands of dollars if I could just have that picture back again. I did not like Star Wars. I had no idea what it was, and then you introduced it to me later in life, and I'm like... God, I'm so stupid. Why did I not keep that? Anyway, we've been trying. It's just like a Midwestern goodbye. We're at the car door. The car is on. I'm getting ready to drive away, and we're still going.
We're still talking. I'm like, wait a second. You roll down your window, and I'm leaning on the edge of it, just chatting.
Wait a minute. Okay. Goodbye, y'all. We'll see you later. Bye.